Good, happy Tuesday evening, August 6th, 2019. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, boy 12 injured when bicycle car collide in Hudson. Victim flown to Boston Hospital. A 12-year-old boy was flown to a Boston hospital Tuesday after a collision between a car and bicycle in Hudson. Police said the boy was riding his bike on Webster Street when the collision occurred at about 2:20 p.m. Police said the boy was wearing a helmet and was with an adult. The boy was flown to Tufts Medical Center in Boston, and there was no word on exact of his injuries. Police said the car was driven by a 71-year-old Litchfield man. Officials said an investigation was underway, but drugs and alcohol did not appear to be a factor in the collision. Webster Street was closed near Federal Street while police investigated, but it has since reopened. Man dies in trail bike crash on Fremont Trail. Man's identity not released pending notification of next and kin, officials say. A man died in a crash Monday while riding his trail bike along the Rockingham Recreation Trail in Fremont, New Hampshire, Fish and Game officers said. The 35-year-old man from East Kingston was riding with a friend, but they became separated, officials said. When the victim didn't return to the trailhead, his friend called for help. Fish and Game officers discovered the victim at 11 p.m., about 1/10 of a mile from the trailhead parking lot, officials said. Officials said the victim was highly experienced trail biker. They added that cause of the crash are under investigation. One killed in rollover crash in Northumberland. Victim identified as a 23-year-old from Groveton. A Groveton man was killed in a crash Tuesday morning in Northumberland, according to state police. Jeremy LaBelle, 23, was killed in a single vehicle crash before 5:15 a.m. on State Street. Police said LaBelle's vehicle crashed into a guardrail and rolled over multiple times before coming to rest in a parking lot. He was thrown from the vehicle and died of his injuries, police said. According to state police, alcohol and speed might have been factors in the crash, but all aspects of the incident are under investigation. Anyone with information about the crash is asked to contact Trooper Michael Bruno at 603-846-3333 or michael.bruno at dus.newhampshire.gov. Woman accused of faking story of neighbor breaking in, attacking her. Blood seen in apartment turned out to be Halloween makeup, police said. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Ray Brewer.
Burst out the door when a when matters most. For more than a decade, he's been right there, everywhere. And when American jobs are on the line, he leads the charge. ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast, and we thank you.
Was in shock.
Missy Benoit says that was her reaction when she learned she was accused of assaulting her neighbor. Around 9:40 Monday night, Manchester police responded to 75 Prospect Street for a reported assault.
There was a woman there that appeared to have 2 black eyes. She had scratches on her body.
That woman was 20-year-old Christy Benoit, no relation to Missy. Before police arrived, Christy had gone to a neighbor's for help. Lucinda Belden went back up with Christy to her apartment.
There was couch pillows all over the floor, the broken plate in the living room on the floor. In her bedroom, it looked like the clothes basket had been dumped over. There was clothes all over. And then what I thought was blood.
During this time, police were also questioning Missy Benoit.
They came over to look at my hands to make sure I had no bruises on my hands, which I don't, as we see.
And about this time, Christy Benoit's story started to unravel as the blood turned out to be fake.
They found a plastic tube of vampire blood, which, as you say, is Halloween makeup, something that is commonly used with costumes.
As for the black eyes,
it seemed that she actually had makeup around her eyes that made it look like she had been punched.
Christy was arrested on a couple of charges, including falsifying physical evidence, and is due in court on August 22nd. I did speak briefly with Christy Benoit over the phone. She says what happened last night was a cry for help, that Missy Benoit had been harassing her and she wanted it to stop. She also claims that she suffers from PTSD and other psychological issues. Reporting live in Manchester, Ray Brewer, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Dartmouth College settles sexual misconduct lawsuit with 9 women. Settlement includes $14 million for students who can prove they suffered abuse. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Breaking news from Dartmouth College. The school has reached a settlement in a federal lawsuit with 9 women. They sued over allegations that Dartmouth ignored years of harassment and assault by former psychology department professors. Back in November, Dartmouth said it was unaware of any allegations until it was alerted by female students. The settlement includes $14 million for students who can prove they suffered abuse and several initiatives by the college to prevent future issues. The settlement is still subject to approval by a U.S. District Court judge.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. AG Belmont officer were legally justified in use of deadly force in June shooting. Michael Sheehan, the second shot, killed June 15th. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Breaking news in Belmont, where the state attorney general's office has just ruled a police-involved shooting legally justified. Good afternoon, I'm Amy Covino. That shooting happened in Belmont June 15th. Just minutes ago, authorities gave their findings into what occurred. They say a sergeant and 2 officers from the Belmont Police Department pulled over Michael Sheehan II on South Road. That's when the attorney general's office says Sheehan took a gun from a holster on his hip and pointed it at his own chin. Officials say Sheehan then started walking towards police, ignoring commands to put the gun down, and they eventually shot and killed him. The Attorney General says the incident was legally justified.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And now let's take a look at that U.S. stock market for all of you. And here's a look at that U.S. stock market as you can see. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the green and went up. Your Nasdaq closed in the green and went up. S&P 500 closed in the green and went up. Gold closed in the green and went up. Oil closed in the red and went down. US 10-year closed flat. Euro/USD closed in the green and went up. And VIX closed in the red and went down. Dow jumps 300 points as Wall Street rebounds from worst day of the year. Stocks rebound on Tuesday from their worst day of the year after China's central bank indicated it plans to keep its currency at a level stronger than some investors had first feared, easing tensions about the nation's using the yen as a weapon in the trade war. Dayton shooter had a history of obsessions with violent indications, police chief says. Authorities investigating Sunday's mass shooting in Ohio have determined that the gunman had been exploring violent ideologies and the prospect of committing a mass shooting before he opened fire in Dayton. And if you want to read more about that, we will have a link for you on the Riley King Network Facebook page. And that is for this Tuesday evening edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Good night and bye.